As the sun rises on the start of another morning, it is day 5 and we're into late summer. So, we may well have a fair bit of work to do today. Hello again, I am Jim Bob and welcome back to Fendt Farm here on GreenRiver 2017. Let's take a quick look at our fields, see if anything has actually finished growing. I'm hoping something has. A lot of stuff has finished growing, but this is all the winter crops that our other farmers, our neighbouring farmers, have planted. You can see that ours are still in their final growth stages, so nothing that we can harvest today, although, having said that, our cornfields are now looking as though they are moving into their final stages as well. So maybe, just maybe, we can actually do a bit of corn threshing today, a bit of corn chaffing. That'll be interesting to see. I think we need to fertilise these one more time, don't we? Yes, we do. And our grass field here should have grown a little bit more as well, so we should be able to weed that back up to stage 3 today as well. Let's start off by getting that out the way. So let's pop the door for the 716, and we'll pop the door for the equipment shed as well. We'll get a worker to do this for us again, same as last time. Reverse our way into the shed, grab our weeder. It does look as though we have rain or hail or snow. I'm noticing this is becoming quite a regular thing. I mean, I've had this on a few different maps now. Whenever I get to summer, there's usually a random day where I get hail or sleet in the middle of summer, and I'm not entirely sure why. It just randomly seems to throw it out there for some reason. I don't know why I came in here, actually. Never mind. We'll go this way. I'll close that door there. That's kind of what I meant to do, was actually just close that door, not actually use this as a driveway. There we go, that's closing behind us. So once again, easiest way for me to do this, because it worked really well last time, is to do a border around the field and then let the AI take over once the border has been established. So let me drop this down. You can see there we're actually applying that fertilizer with the weeder, so to speak. Oh, that reminds me, actually, there is another weeder that is now out that I want to try. The Sapphire, or Sapphire, the GS603. What's the working width on this thing? 6 meters. You see, that's really small compared to the one that we have, which is 12 meters, but I really like the concept of using this particular weeder. So I know you can use it as a kind of a planter as well. I don't know whether or not that's going to cause issues with the AI, so I'm going to take this one back potentially and sell it. But first things first, what I want to do is just drop it just there. You can see we're up to 127,000. I managed to get 2 trailers worth of logs sold before I ran out of time. I've left the gear all sort of lined up on the field so that we can go back to that and do some more, work on that pile as and when we need to. So my truck is over there, the 902 is over there, the log trailer is over there, and also the telehandler from the BGA is over there as well, because it helps me just position the logs. What I started to do was, instead of just going through each tree individually, which was a very slow and laborious process, I actually started to line the trees up so I could cut them all, and then once I'd got them all in a nice little pile, I then planted the legs down on the 902 to secure it to the ground, and was able to then just pivot and spin on 180 degree axis with the cab to pick up logs and then dump them straight into the trailer the other side of the 902 and keep spinning and doing that, and it worked out really, really quick and efficient. So I'll be doing that again at some point. You'll get to see that. Now I'm guessing this is the colour of the seed tank here for main colour. I could go with a grey colour. I kind of like it with the yellow. Let's leave it as is. Oh, it's stuck it outside. So yeah, I'm a little unsure as to whether or not a work is going to work well with this, because it might require seed for the grass planting section of this, for it to work with an AI. If it does, then I may well keep it, and then keep it for manual work, and just let the AI use the existing weeder. We'll see. This is going to double the amount of time it takes to weed stuff, but we're always using that same weeder, and I've always wanted a slightly smaller weeder because I've always felt that in some cases that weeder is a bit too big at 12 meters. This, as a 6-meter weeder, while perhaps not ideally suited for this map because it's quite a big grass field, certainly it does give us the chance to try this mod out, and if we don't end up sticking with it on this map, we can certainly try it out on other map. Try it out today and then use it for a future playlist on a different map. So there you can see I am fertilising the ground that I'm running over. It's a lot harder to see because it's in the shade, and also it's a much narrower strip, which doesn't help either. I think my running speed is the same at 7 miles an hour. And this is me just doing this manually at the moment. There's no AI involved yet. I will attempt that in a moment. But so far so good. It does feel slower. I don't know if that's just me. It does feel slower. Alright, let's hire a worker. Oh yeah, look, he's working absolutely fine. That's awesome. So I think this may become our new weeder. It's smaller, it's a bit more compact, but it kind of fits, I think, with the size of the tractor. It gives us a little bit more flexibility because we can use it to plant grass without having to use a big seeder just to plant a little bit of grass here and there. Yeah, I like this. I think we'll stick with it for the rest of today, and then we'll reassess again a little bit later in the year as to whether or not we're going to keep it. I'll hang on to the other one for now, but we may well just get rid of that and make a little bit of cash back. So so far so good. As I say, I'm going to get a border established all the way around the field through a combination of me and the AI, and then once that border is in place, I will unleash the worker to just fertilise this whole field, get it up to stage 3, ready for our next cut. And there is our corn, as you can see, on the field just over the other side of the road. That's field 27, I believe. Yes, 27, which means field 18 a bit further up. But that's our corn. You can see it's looking pretty cool. It's looking nice and tall. It's looking, I think, ready to be chaffed. It does still need a final stage of fertiliser, so we will run through there with the lead and spray it before we do anything else. Something else we need to do today as well is maintain all of our equipment. As you saw last time out, quite a bit of our equipment is starting to break down a little bit, so we'll take some bits as and when we use them. We're going to take them straight to a maintenance point, repair them, and then send them off to do what they need to do. We'll do that for each piece that we come across that needs maintenance, which does mean that we're probably going to have to do an inspection of quite a lot of pieces with the help window up, just so we can see whether or not they do require maintenance. But I know the lead is probably in need of it. We know that the stuff down by the BGA is probably going to need maintenance because the telehandler needs it, even though it's never been used until last night. Obviously the stuff like the trucks, they're all in need of maintenance. It's all the stuff basically that I purchased when I was setting the farm up nice and early on, and then ran it through until the start of year 2 so that we could actually get the playlist underway. All that stuff is now kind of in need of repair, so as it's had 24 days, even if it hasn't necessarily had the right number of hours, it's had enough days for it to force it to need maintenance. So that's going to be an interesting little chore that we'll have to kind of pay attention to over the next few days, I think, as we use different pieces of equipment. Our combine is almost certainly going to need maintenance, even though I've never fired it up since parking it in the shed. Just simply because it's been there since one of the very first pieces of equipment I purchased to get the farm set up, and it's just been sat in that shed for ages and ages and ages, and now it's been there for over 24 days. It's going to need to be maintained. So a little bit of a shame, but extra expenses, I suppose. That's the downside to setting up a farm the way I have done this time, where I've done it by making sure all the equipment was in place very early on in year one, and then accelerating all the way through year one into year two. It's meant that, you know, come part way through year two, all that equipment that was purchased really early in year one now needs to be maintained way ahead of the sort of the winter schedule. But I suppose it kind of simulates real life a little bit more. You know, machines don't always break down at the same time. They break down randomly, and us having to maintain our vehicles randomly rather than just doing all of our maintenance in winter, I suppose, is perhaps a little bit more realistic. I know Seasons kind of allows for that by having an option of either 24 days or I think 24 hours or something like that, or 25 hours of use, something along those lines. So if you use something a lot, then it'll break down before the number of days limit is hit, simply because it's been used an awful lot. And there we go, let's get the worker released and underway. It's time for us to now go and head up to the BGA. Actually no, head up to the farm so we can grab our leab first. We'll do some spraying over there. And once that's been done, then we can head to the BGA. We can grab our Big X 580 and we can start chaffing some of that corn. Ooh. My truck didn't want to start. My truck needs repairing. Okay, so we found the first vehicle that is in need of desperate attention. Everything is breaking down on me right now. Even my 716 is breaking down. The worker completed their task as I was pulling up to the farm, and it's simply because the engine cut out. The 716 is breaking down on me. So we do have a workshop here on the farm, so we need to repair this so that our worker can actually work. Let's get the door open. Because I've got a weight attached and I don't want to mess around with detaching it, I'm going to reverse in. There you can see there is a toolbox on the workbench behind me. Not close enough. Might need to move that actually to a different location. Let's see if I can back up a bit more. There we go. There we go. So now I can repair. Ooh, 265 euros. And because it was just a repair job and not a customization job, it didn't detach the weight. That's quite handy. So now I can, oops, ended up dropping the weight anyway. Now I can get the worker back on the field again. And I realised as well, I actually started the worker in the wrong place. I need to start the worker on that long section over the other side of the cow. So we'll send the worker over where it needs to be, get the worker restarted, and then we'll fix our truck, we'll fix the leab, we'll go do some spraying, and so on and so forth. So see you in a moment. So as you can see, maintenance required for the leab. I've already fixed the pickup truck. That cost me 300 euros, so that needed quite a bit of work. Let's see how much this one's going to need. I'm not quite close enough. Let's pull in a little bit further. There we go. Repair. Whoa! 5,461. What? Wow. That was horrendously expensive. That makes me seriously worried now as to how much things like my combine are going to cost to repair. Woof, 5.5 grand. That's a lot. That's an awful lot. Was not expecting it to be anywhere near that high. I thought maybe a grand at most. I suppose it depends how long it's been since it's needed repair like that. I'm seriously concerned now about, as I say, how much it's going to cost me to fix up a lot of this other stuff. That is very, very expensive indeed. So I've done the bottom pass. See, I'm now working my way along this way. I'm going to do the border of the field, so it makes it easier to run up and down, do the rest of it. But yeah, really looking forward to actually chaffing this corn. Look at how tall it is, how thick it is. Might need to actually raise the boom a bit. There we go. So yeah, quite a lot of spraying that needs to get done, and then once all that's done, we can start chaffing. Looking forward to this. Oh, the weather. Is the weather going to stop us from threshing? I think it might do. That would be a shame. Well, if that's the case, we can certainly go around and we can do a load of maintenance, and we could even go back and do a little bit of logging until the crops have dried out. But I would like to try and get as much of this done as I possibly can. It's kind of a shame that we couldn't get this to stage 3 yesterday. We had to wait for it to grow a bit more, because then we could have been straight on this morning. But, oh well, I suppose. At least I'll make sure that this definitely gets done this time, unlike where I completely forgot to cultivate this section. Not going to make that mistake with the spray, so I'll get this field done and then I'll catch up with you once it's either done or the weather changes. On the final pass on this field here, just got this little section in front of us to go. And once this is done, we can move off field 18 onto 27, get that one sprayed, and hopefully that won't take us too long either. Still no change in the weather, but knowing my luck, as soon as I do start threshing, that's when it'll start to change. Just wondering if I can actually see the wheels move from in cab. Yep, there we go, look. That's kind of cool. Right, let's just nip out in front of this guy. There we go. Should see our worker actually toiling away on that field. It's going to take him a lot longer, as I say, to get that field done, because he's using a device that is only half the working width of before. But there he is, toiling away. Getting to the bottom of that pass there. Time to splay the wheels out again. And all of this corn is going to go straight to the BGA for sale. I did think about maybe adding some more in, but we're going to use the grass to expand the amount of silage that we have at the animal farm. We'll use the corn straight at the BGA for sale. I think it's just, as I say, we have quite a lot there, and we don't have a huge number of cows, and while I would like to add some more, we need a fair injection of cash to be able to afford to do that, because the rest of the loan that we have available to us at the moment are kind of earmarked already for further equipment. So it makes more sense to put the corn all at the BGA, where we can make the most amount of money from it, because we'll get a lot more chaff from a cornfield than we will from a grass field, a lot more, and we have plenty of grass that we can work with. So we've got a second cut on our meadow next to the cows, we've got a second cut on the meadow by the forest that's still to come, plus that area that we are working on and deforesting at the moment will open up another large section of grass for us as well. So that can all go into the BGA, or sorry, the bunker at the farm, and all of this corn, both fields 27 and 18, will now go to the BGA, where we will hopefully make a very large pile of silage for sale and make a very large amount of cash. That is kind of the plan. And the amount of money that we've been spending, it's kind of a necessary plan. Oops. I need to raise the boom back up, don't I? There we go. Right, so with the twiddly bits there done, this is where it's going to get a little bit more awkward. You have to kind of work this field in strange angles and phases, because of the way it's shaped and the proximity of trees around the edges. Does make it a little bit tricky. But this should give us a nice good run now. So once again, I'm going to jump ahead, do a bit more spraying, and I'll catch up with you once this field has made a lot more progress. So there we go, that is all of our spraying work done. So now we can get the lead returned back to the shed. We can make our way over to the BGA. We'll have to repair a load of equipment up there. So if we haven't got a toolbox installed up there, we're probably going to have to make sure we do put one up there. I can't remember if I put one in there or not. But I'm pretty certain that our Big X is going to need maintenance work. Maybe even our Big M as well. And the wheel loader is almost certainly going to need it as well. So we may as well fix all of the equipment up there while we're up there. It just saves us having to do it at another point, having completely forgotten that it's going to need fixing, which is almost certainly going to happen. If I don't do it today, I'll forget that it needs doing. I'll go to use something and it'll just break down on me immediately. So here we are back at the farm then. Just quickly spin this around, stick it back in its little allocated bay. Now I've said it before and I'm not entirely sure why, but you would have thought that those big, expensive, complicated seeders would also require some form of maintenance. A lot of moving parts on those things, but they don't. I don't know why vehicles are the only things that need maintenance and not these big. I mean, I can understand with some things like maybe a plough or a basic cultivator not needing maintenance, but you would think something like a big, expensive, $150,000 seeder or something like that would need some form of maintenance. It would need to be maintained. It does in real life, so I'm not quite sure why Seasons doesn't replicate that. Maybe it's just a fear of it being overwhelming, too much stuff that needs to be repaired, or too expensive in terms of total costs. I've gone the wrong way, haven't I? Never mind. We can use the little cut through around the corner. There we go. So as we make our way in, now big question, did I put, so park up here, I think, did I put a toolbox in here? No, I didn't. Okay, so let's get a toolbox added. Oh, my stomach is gurgling. Apologies if you can hear that on the microphone. We're down to 154 slots already, so we'd need to be careful with future equipment that we add in. I think duplicating things is probably going to be the way to go to minimise the impact on our slot count. So let's just check all of these bits of equipment bit by bit. Yeah, see, the Big M needs repairs, €444. Oops. dread to think how much this is going to... Oh no, that's the big M again. Let's go this side. Still the big M. There we go. Big X. Yes, this needs repairs as well. €514. So why was the lead so expensive? Maybe it's because we've used it a fair bit. But horrendously expensive maintenance requirements for that. Let's close that door down. We're going to go and fix the wheel loader as well, which I know is going to need some maintenance. Oh, it's actually sticking through the door there. I hadn't noticed that. Might have to disconnect and figure out a different place to store these. Picking up the bale spikes. This is going to be awkward. I think the easiest thing to do is just going to be to drive this thing out and fix it that way. As I say, we might well need to store this somewhere else if it's actually clipping through the building. There we go, €238. I'll leave that out for now because I'm not sure where we're going to store that, but there we go. That's all the maintenance that we needed to get done up here done. So now we can jump into our Big X. I'm not 100% certain, as I say, that I can definitely do this, but I have been informed by a couple of different people that once you get to 50% growth on corn, you can start threshing. So we'll take the equipment over, and if we can't, then we'll just have to bring it back and we'll do something else for the rest of the day. But I'm really hoping that we can actually thresh this corn. And we're probably going to have to break off and do something else at some point today anyway because of the weather. But if we can at least make a good start on this. And once again, what we'll do is we'll get started like this. And then we'll switch over and we'll get this just running a worker on its own. And we'll follow as a chase with... Actually, that's our field there, isn't it? We'll chase with a tractor pulling the trailer so that we can then just break off and come straight back to the BGA, unload and come back again. So we want to turn here. I need to uncover the trailer. I need to pipe out to unfold the header. Stop indicating. Again, this is going to be awkward trying to get clear of the fence. Oh, look at that. Yeah, we can thresh at 50%. That's awesome. Can I make this turn? There we go. So there we go. This is the start of our silage operation for year one. Threshing this corn. I reckon we're going to make quite a lot of chaff on this field alone, let alone with the other field as well. It's possible that, as I say, if we let this grow further, we could get more. I honestly haven't tried that. I don't know. What I might do is I might let field 2 grow another stage and then see how we get from there. But we're getting quite a lot, as you can see. That's 8,000 litres already, and we've only done that small little patch there, so it's kind of promising. So as with the spraying and etc, I'm going to do a border around the field just so that we have space to actually turn this around. We're not going to have to worry about the trailer when it comes to the turns because, as I say, we're going to chase with the Fendt, probably the 826. So it's just the Big X that's going to have to make the turn, but as long as we have a little bit of space, it's not going to go crashing into the trees or stop really early, and we'll be able to get a really nice solid sort of operation going on this field. almost filled the trailer already. And all I've done so far is sort of part of the border. There we go, that is a full trailer. So let's back up. Let's detach. Engine off. In fact, actually, have I left enough space to get in there? No, I haven't. Better pull forward just a little bit more. There we go. So let's go grab our 826. I think this might need some maintenance as well, actually. We'll take it over to the shed just in case. Do we need to repair this? Yes, we do. Only €458. I'm still baffled by just how high the maintenance costs were for my Lieb. Horrendously expensive there, $5,500. I can't help but feel that maybe there's a typo in the maintenance costs on this somewhere, and it's causing us to pay a lot more than we should. We saw that actually with the the Kuhn pack when that first came out. The Metris was horrendously expensive. It was instead of like €200, or $200 maintenance, it was 2,000. It was extortionately high because there was a decimal point basically in the wrong place. So yeah, horrifically expensive. And I can't help but wonder if maybe that's the case with the Lieb as well. That it's costing us a lot more than it should do because it's got a decimal point somewhere in the wrong spot. Whoops! Kind of spun around a little bit there. Not quite sure how that happened. So we should have enough room to get in here. Just I have to follow the field around the edge here. Bit of a long edge to follow it, but we'll do this. We'll make our way back around, dump this in the BGA, and then we will be on sort of trailer duty once we've kind of established a nice sort of lane for us to travel. I don't know if I can get close enough if I trail like this, whether I can actually get close enough behind the Big X to allow it to do what it needs to do. But we still haven't finished establishing the border, so there'll probably be one more run with the trailer attached to the Big X itself to create that border, and then everything else around that will then be pulled by the 826. Slow cruise control down to 6 miles an hour. Really looking forward to working this pit. I think 6 miles an hour might be a little bit too fast actually. Yeah, it is. Oh, no, we just about made it. Right to the very edge of the pit there, 6 miles an hour. So yeah, we may have to slow down a bit for future tips. Now I've got to get the trailer back to the Big X again. I'm going to go this way this time. It might be a little bit quicker than going all the way along and then around and back again. And I won't have to make a 180 degree turn at the bottom as well. This I can just follow the edge of the field and I'll be there. Excellent stuff. And I'm wondering actually how long it's going to take me to chaff this entire field. This may be pretty much all we get done today. I guess it could take us, maybe not all, but certainly most of the day is going to be taken up by doing this field here. So we might not get a lot of other jobs done. So I may well sort of do a little bit more logging if we sort of end up sort of mid to late afternoon having finished this field. It could be quite a while to get this, as I say, to get this job done. So I'm going to jump ahead a bit more, and I'll catch up with you in a little while. Oh, I knew it. Look at that. Look, the weather's changing just as we start threshing. Ah, god damn it. So this is trailer number 2. We've got the border established now, and I've also got a nice little cut through the that awkward little corner section. The weather's now turned horrible, or is about to turn horrible. So I think we're about to end up not being able to thresh at all. It's been so long since I've chaffed corn that I honestly can't remember, but I'm pretty sure we're going to get the cannot thresh during the rain message popping up, which means maintenance and back to logging, I think. You see all the lights are coming on as the sky gets darker. I kind of need to top the fuel up on this as well, but I want to try and get as much corn done as possible, just in case we are going to have to stop. Hopefully it's not going to last for too long, but we are going to have to let the crops dry out again. So even if the rain only lasts for say an hour, that's still potentially 4, 5, 6 hours before we can get back on this field again. Which is a real blow. I'd hope to get quite a lot done today, and that's just not going to happen now. Ooh, barrier, didn't see that there. Now I'm going to end up backing into my crop. Oh, this is not good. Damaging my corn. This could have gone better. There we go. So let's try and get as much of this trailer done as possible before that weather turns us horrible. What I'm going to do as well is I'm actually going to turn the Big X around and get him working on the other side so we can get those long runs there, rather than working back and forth on this tiny little section just here. Because again, you know, time is of the essence here. There we go. So, fingers crossed we can get at least one more pass. I doubt we'll fill this trailer up before, you know, the rain happens. It's getting very, very grey and overcast right now. So, yeah, it looks as though maintenance and logging is going to be the order of the day for the rest of this. Oh, and there we go, look. Oh, no, wait, we can still thresh. We can still chaff. Oh, that's fantastic. I wasn't sure whether or not we could chaff in the wet, but even though it's too damp for other stuff, it's not too damp for chaffing. Excellent stuff. So we can carry on as normal. Well, the hail has stopped. There was a pretty short blast of bad weather there, but it fell at a time that if we were doing a crop harvest would be very, very problematic. You know, it happened, you know, near the middle of the day, which means the rest of the day it's probably going to take, even though it's the height of the hottest part of the year, midsummer, it's still probably going to take a good 3-4 hours for the crops to dry enough to be harvested. So it's kind of lucky in a way that we were able to thresh and chaff this corn in the rain. As if we've been doing crop work and it had rained at this time of day, then yeah, as I say, it wipes out most of the most of the afternoon before we can then start actually doing anything with the crops again. So that's something we need to be wary of. Obviously, we are on the Wales geo. We are going to have intermittent rainfall throughout the year, but especially in autumn when the majority of our crops are going to be ready to be harvested, we are going to have this issue. It is something we do need to be very careful of. So this is tip number 4. Getting a nice clean smooth layer along the bottom here. This is all being done at 6 miles an hour. When I do the next layer, that'll go in at probably 4 miles an hour, so we don't end up just spilling out through the front there. So time to get back onto the field again. We're going to get some nice blue skies coming out so we can get rid of the lights now. And we'll carry on threshing and chaffing the corn on this field here. Okay, so let's try building the second level with a 4 mile an hour tip. Hopefully that'll be a little bit more conducive to building our stack here. See, this is what I was worried about, that it was going to splay out all over the front as soon as every time we drive up here. So because I'd already started with 6, I wanted to kind of keep the base level nice and neat and even. Let's see where we end up with 4 miles an hour. Try and keep it nice and straight. Oh yeah, that's better. That gives us room to work with. So 4 miles an hour it is for the unload, and then obviously you need to reset back to 6 every time we pull alongside. Making pretty decent progress on the field. We're about halfway through it, I think. Actually, that doesn't really show us, does it? Well, there you can see. That's how much we've still got left there. Plus, we still have the corner section. So, maybe not halfway. Maybe about... I don't know. It's close. Close to halfway, I think is the fairest way to say. So, we've still got a fair bit to go on this field. We're getting quite a lot, as you can see. We've made multiple tips so far. And still plenty more to go. So we're going to end up with a really nice haul of chaff once this field is done. Now we've still got another field to go after that. I think that's probably going to be our job for tomorrow, is chaffing the second field. We'll do a little bit of compacting work maybe with our buck rake a little bit later, just to tidy up what we've tipped today. There we go. Right, so once again I'm going to carry on and jump ahead a bit, and I'll see you once we've made some more progress on the field. So just this thin strip is all that remains of the corn on this section here. I've still got that corner section over there to do, as you can see. Time is getting on. It's 6:30 already, as you can see. Really didn't expect it to take this long to chaff this field, but I've still got, as you can see, more to go in that corner there. Got quite a lot in the bunker as well, as you'll see once this load is sort of completed and emptied in. And I think I need to top up the greenhouses again. It's been a little while actually since we were last there, and I think they may well have run out of water. So once I finish this, I'm going to grab my water trailer and go make sure that they're topped up and nicely producing for us again. I can even actually start taking some manure over once we get some straw. So we're a couple of days away from that, I think. Depends how quickly our crops will come in. But given that it's day 5, it's unlikely that the crops will be grown tomorrow, because the transitions usually last 2 days. So I think it's going to be the first day of autumn will be when our first set of crops comes in, which means it'll be 2 more days until we can start putting straw down for our animals, and then another couple of days until we've built up enough manure to actually take care of our greenhouses. So let me just park this here for a second. Now if I transfer this guy over, this is where it's going to get a little bit trickier, but I think we can manage this. I'm going to try running this way. It means quite a lot of turns, but I think this might be a more effective way for us to actually deal with that area. So I'll carry on working over here. I'll get all that cleared. That should all go in the back of the trailer. Might need to do an unload in the process, and once that's done, you'll get to see just how much chaff we've got inside the bunker. So just this tiny little corner patch here that's quite awkward remaining, and the easiest thing for us to do is to actually do this manually with the trailer hooked up behind us. As you can just about see through the back window, that support beam does make it a little bit tricky to see. And there you can see it. This is the second trailer. I said that I might need to do an unload, and I did, with about half of that corner section still remaining. So this is the second lot of chaff, essentially, from that area. And there we go, this field is done. Finally, it's taken us a while. But it is done, so let's just leave this here for a second. Let's go dump the last of the chaff into the bunker and open up the help window to see just how much we've actually got in there. It's going to be quite a lot. I've lost count as to how many trailers I've dumped in there, but each one, apart from this one, has had 56,000 litres in, which is quite a lot of chaff. So we've done at least 2 full layers. I think we've even done 3. We're certainly on a partial layer now. Just started a brand new layer. That might possibly be the 4th layer. Some of it has spilled out the front as well. We'll use the buck rake on the wheel loader to kind of shovel that back in. There you can see that's the progress that we've made so far. Let's get this trailer in there as well. And I've just had a comment come through on the previous video from Anders saying that I should have had bus stops on either side of the road. And yeah, I suppose technically, you're right on that. I probably should have done. But having said that, I mean, we've got 10 bus stops already. I didn't really want to overdo it. And there are some places on the map where it just isn't possible to actually place a bus stop on either side of the road. So rather than kind of really limit exactly where we could put the bus stops, I put them where I wanted them that would make sense, and just kind of forwent the usual kind of a bus stop on either side of the road routine. But thank you for your feedback. I always do, as I say, like to read your messages and your comments. So we'll quickly get all this sort of extra stuff here that's spilled out the front. We'll get all that scooped back in. And then we'll get a measurement of just how much chaff we actually have in here. It's going to be quite a bit. The trouble is, it's going to keep spilling out every time I drive over it as well. So that's why I'm scooping in past the entrance point to try and stop it from spilling out again. It feels a little bit weird as well using a buck rake. I don't normally use these. I normally just tend to use the levelers. But I wanted to try something a little bit different, and I don't know how much I'm going to use this thing, but I'll certainly give it a go. I might end up just switching over to the leveler that we did bring over. And if you're curious as to which leveler, which buck rake this is the one from CD Models. It's the one with Hardox coating, and I can't remember the exact name. I'll check it for you in just a second. There were two kind of mods that CD Models put out with Hardox coating on the attachments. One was this, and the other was a bucket, which I think was about a 6,500 litre bucket, something along those lines. There we go. So that's pretty much, I think, everything that was spilling out kind of collected back up. There might be just a tiny little touch. Yeah, it's just a tiny little splodge there. We'll ignore that for a second. So let's see just how much we've actually got in here. 771,000 litres. That's not bad for a single field, is it? That's not bad at all. This obviously is going to need to be sort of flattened a bit and also loaded up properly. So what I'll probably do is I'll probably use a leveler to kind of smooth it out a bit, and then use a buck rake to tidy it up at the edges and try and fill in some gaps where they pop up. So pretty nice kind of afternoon's work here at the BGA. We've managed to wipe out one of those two fields and get an awful lot of stuff done. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab my tractor. I'm going to quickly head back to the animal farm, grab the water trailer, top up the greenhouses, and then that'll be it for the day. It'll then be a case of kind of retrieving all the various different bits of equipment we've got dotted around and start, putting them back into storage and make sure they get cleaned overnight and stuff. As you can see, it's now 8:30, so time has really kind of escaped from us today. It took us a long time to do that field, a lot longer than I thought it would. But I think it's been a pretty productive day. And yeah, I'm seeing a complete lack of any crop in here at all. So it definitely looks as though we did let these run down a little bit too much. We'll get these topped back up again with some water and get them producing a bit of extra cash for us again. So that's pretty much it for another day. As I say, we've achieved an awful lot, and I'm quite pleased with where the farm is right now. It'll be a couple of days, I think, before we can start our harvest. So we'll do a little bit of odd stuff tomorrow. We might not do the other cornfield, or might not chaff the other cornfield tomorrow. I might leave that let it grow to fully grown corn I want to see if there's any kind of real difference in terms of the kind of loads we can get into the trailer or the bunker. See if it fills up quicker. But we will have to take care of our animals, and we'll be looking to add in a few extra little bits and bobs as well. So that's it from me. Thanks for watching. I am Jim Bob. I'll be back with another episode of Fendt Farm here on GreenRiver very soon.